one goes where.
Okay, all right. Dumelang ra la amohela ho lenaneo la shift la bobedi le lentle lebitso la ka ke nna ka Mopombe ke tshepa re tlo thabela haholo lenaneo la rona la ka jeko la bona hore ka pere pitch though it's winter ne setse ho bata ka ntle ka mo.
And our producer loved the dress. Qobekazi busisiwe utsho ngoku.
Yeah, I can remember the figure.
Nice, mara.
The figure ramela.
It's a figure.
Yes.
All
right.
Ake shamba. Itsho indoda basika namthi sibulisele bethu ngolwesibini omhle ndithi ndiyanamkela ku shift kanti mabizeni next door so shiftane sonke sishifte ingqondo zethu indlela esicinga ngayo because sometimes uhlele endlini unento ezicingayo ngendlela ethile ube stuck because awukwazi ucinga so siyakunceda ke apha ku shift that's why siza kuwe straight live ukwazi usifonela uthethe nantoni na ofuna uthetha ngayo apha ku show yethu.
Alright, we are live lekana na phone na ko 0391333720 kanye ku Facebook na ku Twitter @shift on SABC1 rena le SMS line ya rona e gona le yona e re 33720 be le go rona kana re SMS ge a ile go ra sona motho wa Facebook le Twitter because of tshabela lo tseletsa di online dating tse ne ruwa ka tsana bana.
Yeah. Fandila online.
Yeah.
Alright. Le go polega gore di competition di sa le gona so young community shapers competition is still going on ge re mohlomongwe o motho o moswa ngumuntu omtsha apho khoyo kone project oyenzayo uthuthukisa ke I community apho khoyo khona ukwazi ungena ku website yethu ke shifttv.co.za okanye ungene kwi uthumele email ke 300 words ye essay project yakho uthumele ke ku info@openstream.co.za ukwazi bane lakha ke amaxabiso akhona imali ikhona over 180,000 rand unokwazi ifumana njengomuntu omtsha oyenza iproject but ukhumbule ke funeka ba between the ages of 16 and 25 and iproject yakho should be running for over a year ngoku.
And natsa gore this week we celebrating child protection week mo ile gore re ha ile gore wena o bona ngwana wa ko next door e leng gore ba motlhopa and maybe ntse tshaba o bua because o tsaba gore o itse ke ngaka tlo kena itaba tse tsa batho o wena o le ngwana o tsaba gore ko ntlung ba o abuse o tsaba go bua best thing tsa my because you know what they doing now government into etsang go gore go deep blue ha re go so etha ke re bana gol but so etho obviously na le zone 2 deep blue Orlando re tameka se go gona le pleke mo welfare mo leng gore bana ile gore ko ntlung ba mo phisa botlhoko ha ba mo phidise hantle gona go ya go social working a tsore mamelang nna ke lo so ko ntlung ba nshapa or nna ke na le 12 ko ntlung ba nketsa gore ke phege which is wrong
or whether if we bona le neighbor ka nna wa report ko mapodisa sometimes you have to be anonymous even so that come next door ba ska tswa re kwena so no funda bo 10 triple 1 no report
ba report and batho ngata ba tsaba bua cause tsa right taba tsa ko next door ba tla gore na le me ro ko next door sa tsena re buisane because of ke rileng wa bona maybe ke the way go disa ngwana ka teng mara tse dingwe ratsa gore ka pisa all right ka ntla ga re senyana go ge ke na ko la re tsene ko what's on your mind. All right, re kreile email beta kopa email. What's the main reason of privatizing things in South Africa, like private schools, or private hospital, private security, and so on from Makwada, Kopitor? I guess
okay.
We're saying private hospitals, but hospital so thola gore se tshwana le a public clinic or a public hospital.
I could say because most of the private hospitals are maybe the more expensive because service is privatized specifically. Let's say for instance I go Santon Clinic or we go Florida Hospital, a private clinic. The gas one. The prices down ke medical aid down ke bokae when now you go bara we lobela ka maybe but let's say 10,000 rands. How you go Florida or free even. Go private clinic no, it's 40,000 before they admit you. Yeah. Facebook before.
Yes. Facebook etswang ko Jack Munyamane ore is the government failing us that much where they are advertising posts that there are job opening at certain departments but they never call us for interviews. I think it's a waste of time. They make hopes of people while they know that there are no relevant posts. Like was my younger sister. So na ile ko clinic I do not mention it because ha fitla mo bare okay gona di post vele tse tswileng no ko di clinic ko di peta tsa government for cleaning go batleke whatever ha o fitla mo le ha o sa tsebe gore tshwantse o fitla mo sepetlele ore Richie o nrometse gore ke tlong ka di form so once o fitla mo le mo sepetlele se le se ko so etwa re ke tlile mona go tlile ba re gona ba tobotsa gore di and ba re ba di rekisa 1.2 but I'm not going to mention the hospital no
corruption is a little strong ne
and then we saying government are from sebetsa re fa ke batho ba leng gore ke no tshoreng di positions ke no tshoreng di posts tseo tshwantsa di ntse bona gantse gore yes
And
business e motho
interestingly,
ntho e.
it's part of what you're talking about today, because sometimes go mereko o kry-a le gore ba bangwe ba ba successful or ba kry-a di-promotion because of the color of their skin, just because o motho o montsho ba re ke affirmative action o tshwanetse re promote wena, or maybe because wena o lekgowa tlo kry-a, you know, go na le ntho tse jalo. So today re bolela ka ntho specifically, but before that re ke tshware bongane go first. Bongs
Le kae?
shabo yong
Re teng man, e bua le mongwe mo fotora tsene. Na problema ka di-agent tse tsa sebetsang mo tsona. Wa tsona agent e ke sebetsang ko yona ne. Agent a teng ke le ka stock taking. So I ke le ka stock taking, ina la teng sa mtshwara like la mention because of e ba abuse nga teng as youth re ba tshwa.
yeah
I just think you rata. So tsona agent a teng ka sebetsa ka tsona ka di-Sunday ne. O tsona sebetsa ka Sunday. Ha una transport. Ne, le ntse ke na ka 6 months. O tshayisene go tsolo tshayisa ka 12. Ne ka banyana tsolo ba se na di ba shumbani ke banyana le bona o tsolo re tshayisa ka 12 ha ona transport isa makishini different education ke la tshendisa na batla go switch go poison ba bamba tsa go box te ba batla go Pretoria o tsolo like arena transport at that time o tla re ipona tsa jang bona tswe ba tla go tsena go ntseng re sebetsa re tsa ka mosebetsa ba tsa re
and obviously kana go halo organize transport ya lona ya delivery ya special sonse le patele extra even
or re patele extra on self.
no ke tshore a kere if ha hona transport kana go tshore lona tshwantse le organize maybe special taxi e tlo le deliverang ene ke chelete ntho
yeah because of your skill lanka because sometimes we supposed to be ka ba isa go polokwane ne ha go go plano go ka polokwane ka treusi o ke tsela ka transport kana go ona
exactly
yeah agent that thing ke ku higher pretty sharp I just feel all right so they need help for more because most of the time responsible re sebetsa go shopong bosibi sellet always wa bona ha o tshetse bona se go sebetsa o tropa go office tsa bona le mi se box back o tropa box back or if you boys mo tropa boys la fare taba tsa dikene so ba bida nje go re fela nje bona ba ra tutse tsona o yentse care house safety how ha bona taba leo
eish ano go se ga bongane wa bona marwandi go tla loka kere
ya o tla loka so like ne kopa any solution re ka gona re tlise re tsuse go no bona re ka etsa jang for yona le gore because
ora wa bona ka mo the uban ka yona no di projects di umametse re tlo suggest on a list maybe re tlo etsa one of our episodes re bona re ka etsa nne
okay thank you
ora thank you buti.
All right, does race play a role in getting opportunities? Because masters, but because of I'm black or because of I'm white or because of I'm Indian, the opportunity. Manager, the position, post. For now, difficult. All right, win a voucher at 3,500 and shop online. Check this out.
Shift, SABC Education and B-BBEE.co.za are giving away 30 vouchers to the value of 3,500 Rand each. You can buy almost anything on B-BBEE, from brand new products to second-hand items and hard-to-find collectibles. To qualify for this voucher, you need to be 18 years or older, have an email address and access to internet. SMS BID, your name, surname and birth date to 33720 now and stand a chance to win a voucher to the value of 3,500 Rand. This competition is brought to you by B-BBEE, a safe and simple online marketplace.
Abanye bathi amntu athi jonga ndine qualifications zininzi kodwa ndiyantantiswa ngabantu abangenazi qualifications just because balibale elinye. Sithetha ngalonto namhlanje ubana wena apho usebenza khona does race matter na? Uqashwa nje because ungumuntu omnyama or uqashwa nje kuba ulikhalade uqashwa nje because ungumlungu na? Sithetha ngalonto because inyani kufuneka ithethiwe abantu abasekhaya because kanti ratse ba re go ukrile position wa apply ba re no position is qualification ke. Sometimes ba be re no ke affirmative action position o tseba ratsa re keng ge le re wena so mmalo montsho ka government o ka se humane straightforward na go ngwe o apply ba ska bolela go fitle kwa after ba harele somebody else motho a botsa no ne ba tseba re tlo hara mang vele o tle fela je interview le process so re bolla ka ntwe today and we are live 0839133720 or SMS ku 33720 shift at sabc.co.za email yothi ke ukwazi usifumana ke ku social media shift on SABC1 hashtag yethu ke pha ku Twitter #does race matter masithetheni nyani let's tell the truth.
All right, what Thoma gelina la gae ke Andrew okay
Tengo guys sister.
Right.
Yeah, get right.
ke abuta rona
Okay mren Ke sharp.
Yeah, no, ke sharp.
Sweet.
Utlwile? Okay, abuti. Shapo apere happy socks. Eh, ke happy socks.
Happy socks.
Okay, I'm ready.
Tamijo?
Sharp, sharp.
How are you?
Good in yourself.
I'm well, thanks. Amanda?
Tamijo. Sweet.
Okay. Sharp. Lian?
Hello.
Okay, let's mix then. How are you?
Hi, good
I'm
and
well.
you.
Brilliant.
Hi there. Hi.
Alright, re le fapha la shift le ra tswela kwa ntle ra ile go botsa batho gore botse bona re bolela ka racism re bolela le di-opportunity banana re bolela ka eng lebella moki.
Have I had a racist moment at work? Yes, I have. I mean, you know, because at the end of the day, you know how it is in the workplace. Racism is directly linked to organizational culture, and if the culture is predominantly white, then, you know, you are discriminated, to say the least, because of your skin color.
Yebo kunjalo ngoba mangizwa endaweni ezifana nabo Pretoria bathi ama-workplace adominate abantu abamhlophe and nakhona ma uyofuna umsebenzi bafuna ukuthi ube nesilungu ne-Afrikaans so ma ukuthi uzoba ne-Afrikaans ungaze wayikhuluma empilweni yakho it shows ukuthi i-racism isesekhona emsebenzini.
Yes, I do think there's racism, and then the most effective racism would be mostly on color. Like managers will practice nepotism in terms of color, which leads to racism in the business. So yes, I do think there's racism in the workplace.
No, it's an issue because by trying to balance between our race.
People try to tone it down a bit so it doesn't look kind of like racism, but it still is racism.
But sometimes, opportunities, sometimes you feel ukuthi ungathi ibala lakho ngathi alikusebenzeli kahle.
I really do think racism is a problem in the workplace because a lot of us young people, when we want to go into the workplace, like for a job interview or anything, we become stressed, and then when we're going for a job interview, we check that the only reason we don't even get hired is because we are of a different race, and that becomes a real problem. So I think it still is a problem.
Different views. We are going to experience so we are experience our molongona because yes, we've done a research. We want the number the ring, but we molongona like na.
Lian, when we talk about racism and opportunities in a workplace, what exactly are we talking about?
Well, I think in general, there's always a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of companies that are looking for people, ourselves, our clients. They're always looking to hire people and to grow their businesses. Some of the concepts of BEE is about growing our economy and employing more people. So when it comes down to race, of course, BEE, the Employment Equity Act, does specifically look at having a certain number of black people in positions, but it's more about growing and what's best for the business.
But does that mean that if you're going to have a certain number of black people that you hire in your company and a certain number of white people, does that mean that some of the white people should lose opportunities in your company so that you've got the quotas? Is it reverse discrimination, Andrew, like you suggested?
For me, it's a difficult and a sensitive topic because as you say, you know, if we develop maybe that white person, maybe a better education, so to speak, or maybe a better background or experience, okay, you don't want to lose that in your company.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you need to understand as you wanna improve the economy of South Africa and about the opportunity. You understand? And we are in a process, especially now, especially 20 years after all this democracy, we're in a process of healing the country. And sometimes, as a human, you need to understand that it's not always going to be smooth sailing. And you know, maybe I'm not chosen because of my skin color. But let's maybe focus on something of healing instead of just fun. You know, I'm out there, and if oh, you know, my heart becomes hard towards, you know, what all. Yes. So.
Mara nitikuri situation is usual because what about
and I can understand maybe
yeah,
you are told, and I want work. I really want work. You know, when I go to school, and I'm sending to the best schools. But what I'm saying is, to be cognizant, we are in a process, so let's not be selfish. You understand? If you know, even with interacting in your workplace, ska always wish about the policy tsena like, ah man, you know, why always so maybe chomiaka tour because you know, find ways that you can come around that and actually you know, enhance the workplace to become an environment where we all sort of interact together. And like you said, it's a difficult thing. Like if we have a family high, it's hard for me to say because I can have family. Let's just be, you know, give everyone an opportunity. But that's sort of the mentality that we need to understand, that we're in a process of healing, and we need to be very susceptible to others around us. In
21
the
years, Ed.
21 years. Man.
21 years.
It takes a long time. Look at a country like America. How many years have they been in the situation they've been in now? And they still find issues that race.
True.
I'm told. So 21 years as a mouse is not a long time in terms of a country healing. So, yeah.
So you say you lost a lot of opportunities because of your race.
Yes.
Let's talk about your story.
Okay. So you see, because I'm from an Indian-based side of Johannesburg, I'm a dancer. So because of my name as well, Demigio Esbach, people don't know where I fall under. So because of my surname being white, people think it's okay. What does this boy know? So my genre is Bollywood, contemporary hip-hop. So obviously they're going to see a Bollywood dancer and they're going to be like, everyone thinks Bollywood and they're going to see this here. And then like, what does this white person think he's going to do? Then automatically when it's time for being in a competition or something, the perception of Bollywood, they're going to think this. Then they're going to see a white name, white person doing Bollywood, it brushes you off, so you don't get the opportunity to go forward. Then when it comes to doing more competitions or doing more events, people are going to brush you off completely because they don't give you the opportunity to go forward, because thinking that for any other competition or whatever it may be, you're going to lose out because you're not going to attract the crowd. So if you understand what I'm saying, any opportunity that arises, people are going to, they want to stop it there and then because you don't have what it takes, or you don't have the skin color that they need to attract the crowd.
So it's because they're specifically looking for, if they're looking for a Bollywood dancer, you got to be Bollywood. If you're white, they're looking for white, you got to be white.
Exactly.
So you're saying they're confused whether you're white, colored, or Indian?
Exactly.
What are you?
I'm Indian, but because I come from a very mixed family, and I come from Indonesia, so in Indonesia, most of the people there are either half Indian, half colored, you know, they're very mixed families.
Yeah.
I come from a very mixed family as well. So my name, obviously, as you can, Demigio Esbach, is very mixed as well. So I have an Italian name and a white surname. So when it comes to me performing out as well, people don't know where to categorize me. So because I also belong to a lot of genres when it comes to dance, that does play a big role in success.
So when in a workplace, how difficult gore motho a finyele position e batlang because of mmala wa skin size?
Ke nnete kgaitsadi yake. Look, kgatelelo le yona or getting racism ya setšhaba sa rantsho, you know, kgale re kgatelelo, and it has been going on for quite a long time. Okay, and you know, to even say, you know, sometimes you are told, you know, let it slide. You know, it does not exist. Perhaps you are looking too much into this. But if you look, even if you take it to the JSE, I mean, the top 10 who are there, top 10 CEOs of the JSE, you know, there's only one black or you know, one black CEO there. In the top 20, there's about 2. You know, so even the stats are there to prove. But more than that, you know, Andrew spoke of healing 21 years hence. For how long are we going to heal? We cannot, you know, continue saying, let us heal. For what white people need to do is to come back and say, if I was in that particular situation, you know, situation is understand. They need to understand things from perhaps our perspective. In order for us to come together and say, now going forward, this is what we're going to do.
But in Tunga speed, for instance, Budi top JSE, so by 2 on the other side, by 10 on the other side. Niti as well, so how should we experience the qualification? So at the time, so Horibari, Hurricane half your Batoban, so Kenya half your Mahua, it will affect that Musibits, it will affect that Huebo.
Aaron, are you saying black people are not qualified?
No.
That's not what I'm saying.
Or are not incapable of handling in those particular situations?
What I'm saying, but Baba, so how should be history of Nalo Rutsakai? Very few, Baba Nali experience.
So that is economic power that you're talking about, which we do not have. Balance the situation according to what the country is. That's what we're saying.
Amanda, when I experience racism in the workplace?
Yeah, but you know, I'm in the media industry, and it's very, you know, in the workplace, doesn't matter which industry or it's very subtle. You know, or boni until frequently and think man, you know, an example, you're gonna answer a phone, and then when you're about to hang up, the white person on the other side will say, "You speak so well, well done." And frequently it's well done. What does she mean, well done? You know, is it because I'm black? Is it coming from that place? Or you, as the black person, M7, you'll be sent to, if there's an event happening, because they think ukuthi uzokhuluma nabantu bakini, and laba abanye bazoyisa on your sanction and morning side. So it's very subtle, because no one's going to come out and call you the K word. But it's the little things abazenzayo.
But for example, M7 what maybe let's say but we know guys why ningangise sentiment then ithathena nimisele.
I only questioned it once ngiyiswa kwelinye ilokishi, and mengibuza ukuthi there's other 5 people, there's 5 of us, and then kuyiswa mina, and then ngithi mina angikaze ngiye kuleli lokishi, so ngiyasaba, so can I get someone uzohamba nami? And bathi the response was, "Oh, yazi, we thought out of everyone you would be okay to go there." You know, so even though only simmered ngakusasa, what do they mean ukuthi I must go to this? I mean, in my head, I thought it was dangerous, but because they think ukuthi nami ngikhulele lokishini, amalokishi wonke ayafana, and sonke black people siyafana, she'll be fine.
Mawubuza bathini? Because sometimes ungaba indaba ukuthi if bathumela wena elokishini, at least uzokwazi kune language at least uyaziyo ozoyikhuluma.
It's always the answer vele ukuthi no vele abantu bakho uzokhona ukukhuluma nabo, but it's 2015. That can't be the answer.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, are you bukoni buphirima re sara neo?
Okay.
Ngitele ga usi.
Ke ne o motho go kuma. Ina le bothata ne. Ka ta I didn't ke makwatele tsele ke batho ba on the other side ne. Ke ne ke bela ka tkontra ka go road and transport. So there was this posting in Kahile, I got 2012. After the and then the put it in a funeral for the interview. 3 days before the interview, no, the posted is released. This year, January, in the contract, and where's part of it? Under the treatment, 8 years, on never to back to the Later on, one of our supervisor, my boss, okay, the post to you. I think next guy on it who go on up 2012. So you will play the younger 2012 because all of us put it in this position. Men were not getting young, other women are each other. So one of the reasons I think about what some of them are looking at you, but it's a lion who took. So I hope no grandmother because you can have no apply all over because I get like a hospital. How apply about like a church? I said church or like a marrow. People cancel and how apply the very same thing. So that's like a fabric to the back and then some of us and I did not. So what type of grandmother? But I and of which the second people don't go to that one, the more than I can take a contract after I have to do the house.
Okay, rebel genots. Dulang to shebile short. Ausi le tla o tla re jetsana how thola situation e jwale o reporta ho kae if ever at least o kgona ho reporta even if about thola msebetsi at least o kgona ho reporta incident e jwale ba utlwa maiso. That's a very interesting angle because hangata how work a race you're talking about race in the workplace you're thinking black against white or white against black. Sometimes it happens between white and black and black. Like in her case, we're black and black.
Maluma ke CEO or ke manager ya ko company itse. I guess but because of kamudu zuko high.
Yeah.
Then she learn.
But I'm exactly. The major, how do you then survive if that's the case? I mean, it must be very hard for you to, progress as a dancer.
I think basically at the end it comes to all about dance skill. When you perform, it's do your thing and make sure the crowd sees who you are, and at the end of the day, it's let them see what you can do and succeed from there. If people are gonna judge you based on your skin color, it's gonna be their loss. You have to do what you have to do and survive on that. If they are gonna wanna create their own barrier, it's basically it's their loss. You do what you have to do and try to survive.
Because I know some of the dancers, what they do is they'll record themselves and throw their work on YouTube, for instance, where somebody would go in there. Do you have a YouTube account as well?
I'm busy with that, but I'm with Sitari Dance Academy at the moment. We a lot on social media. We going quite far at the moment, so we're having a lot of fun with that. So we're pushing ourselves. At the moment, we don't have much of a racial issue right now. We're having a lot of fun. We're pushing ourselves out there, and a lot of people actually are enjoying us. So compared to where we were before and where we are now, there's no racial issue at the moment.
I want to give you an opportunity now to sell your handle on social media right now.
Guys, Sitari Dance Academy.
What is it?
Sitari Dance Academy.
Sitari Dance Academy.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to see one move?
Yeah.
Okay, come on to see one move quickly.
Okay.
Let's straight to it break.
Just don't twist your head on the floor because there's a table here.
Okay. Okay, something for South African viewers.
Okay. Nice one.
Alright, Papa George pele re bolela ka racism le ko workplace gore a na wena nkile wa bereka ko company e leng gore wa tsa keng ga lo o ba bereketse for 10 years mara o rela wa applyela position ela o ba supervise bara because of you white never work re position ra Papa George pele.
In certain places, blacks don't get promoted, but nowadays in most cases you get promoted because you are black. Like most companies would have a black CEO just for the face part of it, to put the face of the company, while the whole company is still comprised of white people or maybe other races, but the front man is still black. So people think the place is integrated when it's not so much integrated. It's just the front person is black, just a black face with a white body.
To be honest, I didn't think like that before, but then after my research about workplaces, I'm a student right now, I think it's more of your qualifications nowadays. So your race doesn't really matter what race you are. As long as you have a good qualification, you can get your job or promotion, whatever the case may be.
I don't think so. It would determine your capabilities and also your qualifications. So I can't see why color should really determine, your attributes or whatever you can contribute to whatever.
Abanye abantu bane perception ukuthi if umnyama, okay, if umnyama or ulikhaladi ngalento ukuthi awufundanga enough ukuthi uthathe i-top position. So every time mababona iskin color yakho nje bacabanga leyo nto perception yakho.
Because how come batho ba babedi bana le qualifications out one and maybe the experience out one and e mong a le logoa e mong a le motho motho e jwalo ba tlanka motho motho except in the event of ba hloka motho motho for that position ka legislation or whatever the case might be.
Sometimes na le go re apply la mmereko o le Richard Law of the mo le ba oh sorry se ne re nagana gore maybe ko ena le go gantse motho montsho sorry se ai ke mistake ana ba re gone gore go ara or sometimes o kra gore ha o kena fela ba re ai wait ke na le tendency se sebetsa mo mara position ya you tshwanele because maybe ba bone bogoni ba gago ba bone maybe o se good enough for position eo or maybe because of color ya gago mamtla ga re bolela ka racism in a workplace gore ana e dira ke eng le gore ke tshefeng le tshelo gore re ka dira gore re fokotse company all right o tlo re tsena ga ke le sego o re ena hey le ena nkile bona tabe ene bona gore ke bothata bogolo bo e leng gore na le bona mo South Africa le sego okay ke Arun
hello okay sharp Alright, ndikhumbise ke mntasikayo bana si live yakwazi usifonela ke 0839133720 or SMS ku 33720 shift@sabc.co.za email yethu yakwazi usifumana ke na ku social media zonke shift@sabc1 apha ku Facebook sibuza umbuzo ndobana wena do you think race matters uthi uOyama makaphawu Ngomose uthi yes especially apha eKapa amakhaladi athathelwa phezulu umuntu ufumana umsebenzi noba akanazi qualifications uViyokazi Vili limntana athi yes it does like for example why are there still forms asking for race when filling them xa apply umsebenzi and then Kirifense Sedomi ne point different uthi no it doesn't matter blacks have this tendency of saying they are taken lightly and stuff but that's not the point the point is us as blacks we lack hard work and that's why whites get more opportunities than us
before ke tla go len we still have a long way to go o bone eng.
Well, now my experience with racism was very language-based. I'm from the Free State. I'm from Bloemfontein. So I'm in the medical field. When I started... Yeah, no, I've already experienced racism here as well. But when I say it's language and location-based, it differs from where you're from, where you are now and how the place has been rehabilitated.
Right.
So I found that other locations have not really been rehabilitated, you know, in terms of the change that we're talking about. So with Free State and Bloemfontein specifically, when I got into the medical field, I got in wanting to be a diagnostic radiographer. When I qualified in that, I wanted to specialize and become a radiation therapist, which is where the problem came in now. Because in radiation therapy, you work in a different department. In diagnostic, you're in a radiation department, whereas with radiation, you're in oncology. Now, oncology was never rehabilitated as a department. It was always seen as a department that was mostly white dominated, and most professionals there were white, and they only spoke Afrikaans.
Was it not because qualifications
that brings me to my other problem. That the reason why people never had an interest to go was because when they went, every time we went and we were taken around to see the different specializations that you can choose as a professional, we found that, okay, wait, this is too white. Do I want to come here? You know, whereas with me, I had a very personal journey and I really wanted to specialize and become a radiation therapist because of the history that me and my family have with cancer. So with me, nothing was going to stop me. I wanted to get into radiation therapy, you know, and I struggled. The first day I applied, it was just the two of us. It was me and another white girl, and she was taken, and I wasn't. I went back and I said, excuse me, why was I not accepted? You didn't conduct any interviews. What criteria did you use? And if you used our previous marks from our previous qualification as diagnostic radiation as diagnostic radiographers, then most certainly I should have been taken because my marks were higher than hers. So I needed to understand what criteria they used. So when they saw my persistence and that I really wanted to get in, they realized, oh, okay, we don't have a choice, we need to take her. But then the twist came in where they realized, oh, okay, she has a background of Afrikaans. So then it was good for them as well, because I come from a colored family. So my Afrikaans was very good. Actually, my Afrikaans is very good, but it's good on a conversation level. So the problem I had was that they did everything in Afrikaans. When we're talking biology, when we're talking the human anatomy, when we're talking radiation and physics, which is where the problem came in. And I realized, okay, we have a long way to go. We really do. So it was a struggle for me. I had to stomach education in a language that had a painful history attached to it, and it really took me back, and it made me realize what our people really have been through a lot. You understand? Because I'm not a born free. I was born before 1994.
You were born not so free.
You know, I was born before 1994, but at the end of the day, I still didn't have any real experience to apartheid. You understand? The only binoculars I had to the experience were our documentaries, the books that we read, or the history subject at school. You know, it was only then when I was in the department that I realized, okay, this thing is real.
Leanne, let's talk legislation, because I mean experiences are different. We could sit here for hours and hours and talking about different experiences. What does legislation say? If you experience such racism, whether it's subtle like Amanda or not, what does the law say?
Sure. Just to give you a little bit of the background to the legislation that's out there, we've got the B-BBEE Act and we've got the Employment Equity Act. And the principle of both of those two acts is to equalize the economy. So roughly, we've got 90% black, and that's including a percentage of Indian, a percentage of colored, and then obviously African black. And we've got about 10% white. Now, as correctly pointed out earlier, the JSE listed companies, from an ownership point of view, from a director point of view, don't have the same demographics. In fact, in the last Commission for Employment Equity, the results came out over there, it was about last year, April time, said that top jobs, so of your top jobs, your CEOs, your exco level, is sitting at about 62% white male. So when you look at your demographics, in theory, it's 10% white, which is made up of about 6% male and about 4% female. The demographics of what is out there, the actual stats of the companies, doesn't actually fairly represent what our country should be like. And that's a huge problem. So the Employment Equity Act and the B-BBEE Act aims to try and redress some of these problems. So increase some of the numbers in middle management, in junior management, through a combination of skills development as well. So the Employment Equity Act and the BEE Act is not saying just promote somebody into that position for the sake of it. It's a broad-based scorecard. So you look at your skills development, you look at your enterprise development, you look at your socio-economic development, and you've got to tie that in. I started earlier about talking about businesses. There's a huge amount of opportunities for everyone in the economy. We just need more businesses to have more space for people and to employ them. It does come down to race to some extent because you do have your targets, but it's about business decisions as well. So get out there and take those opportunities.
Like you say that it looks a lot beautiful on paper, like a lot of policies we have in our country. I want to find out, what do we then do? If you're that employee, you're there and you know that your company does not reflect those demographics, what do you then do? But before that, let's look like Noncedo.
Yebo, nanginceda khulumayo.
Kunjani?
Ngiyaphila njani?
Siyaphila.
Ngiyaphila nginenkinga ngelilanga ngihlala khona la eInadale. Anginesitoro ngiyothenga inkumama lapha esitoro athi ngihambe ngiyofuna kune vacancy eSelfast la eLens eSignet. Bafuna abantu ngabantu abayithwayekile. Ngimbuza ukuthi wazi kanjani athi hayi le ntombazana lesebenza la. Nayi isisi wakho usebenza lapho so umtshelile. Ngithi ayi thanks ngikhiphile samampela ngilungisa iCV yami ngiye eSelfast. Mangifika eSelfast ngifike ngibuza imanager abangibonisa imanager. Ngimbulisa angibulisa ngithi uzokuthola vacancy nifuna abantu bengilethe iCV. Athi can you speak Afrikaans? Ngithi mina I'm not fluent. I can understand Afrikaans but I can't speak it. Athi kimi you're not fluent. What is donkey in Afrikaans? Ngithi if I were to answer that question I'd be lying. I don't know what is donkey in Afrikaans. Athi I soluze umsebenzi ngaloko. Can't speak Afrikaans. Ngimbuza ngithi so it means la kutheka only ama-Afrikaners lana kusebenza only ama-Afrikaners because angikhona ukukhuluma i-Afrikaans ngaluza umsebenzi kanjalo nangaphandle ukubhaliwe ukuthi vacancy badinga abantu but because I didn't know idonke i-Afrikaans yini ngaluza umsebenzi just because of that I didn't know what is donke in Afrikaans zange bangithathe eSelfast yaseLens eSignet.
Siyabonga Noncedo ne?
Ewe nyawo.
Okay, re-ring, what do we do?
You see, I just need to go back a bit and correct something here. Racism needs to be understood and it is misunderstood. There's a point, the previous caller before this one, Neo, we need to differentiate between what is racism and corruption and nepotism. What she was talking about was pure corruption and nepotism. It had nothing to do with race or racism for that matter. So, we need to learn and unlearn what we've been taught going forward, and that as well requires almost a total overhaul of our education system. South African history needs to be taught. Okay, and as I'm saying, relearn, unlearn, and then going forward, we need to come together as a collective. You know, the blacks have done their part in a sense. The racial integration, it has come from us. But I'm saying the whites have not come to party. They do not have what we call black tax. They are not subjected to such things. Do they understand? Do they even understand their white privilege? No.
Andrew?
Sure. Yeah, no, ke topic is sensitive, man. That's why I keep working that process here healing. Next are batumba batune kicho hona mahueng arona. The way hona maybe sometimes rebona ndintokati. Reading simple what all. Instead of analyze, I like for na ke tu ima ke ka mdimo ke hodile the way ke hodileng ka teng ke holetse plotong ke holetse ga ba to sbukeng ke tsamaya di zone 13 you know so that's the way so that ke yona ntho kholo for nna because ke ithutile puo o not to say ke ithutile bang gutile puo e ke khonne ho bua ka dula le batho ba batsho ke ja le bona ke ntho tse ka ofela tse a normal white person would never do but all so those are the type of things that ha ke bua le ntate mo ke bua ka puo ya hae o khona o keng a thole le botanyana le a thola at least nthakona o iphile nako ho a ithute puo ya one tall so le na ka khona ho tla ho nna hanyana and in life ho jwalo tshantse you must give and take you can't all just expect or dintho di tlatla oh goodness the policy kitse and that's what I was talking about in terms of healing that we need to understand or we are different people we've come through this very intensive process ya yeah, apartheid ya fela. And I feel fela actually. So when I was saying 21 years, you know, it may sound like a long time, but it's not. There's you know, if ka bua mohlomong ska ntate wa ka le ntatemolo wa ka maybe ho no tshwantse ba phela hona jwale. I'm young enough for them to still be alive. So maybe bona ntse ba na le that mentality. One told they could have very well just passed that on to me. So there's already 3 generations ahead of your kid and my kid that have that mentality, which is wrong. Understand?
When I didn't pick up on some sort of phobia, let's hold a little bit because how, for instance, how to well language, how to when I let that comfort. Even in your case, let's hurry. Just because you couldn't speak Afrikaans or they thought how we Afrikaans. How are we then going to socialize with you in this area? Do you think maybe fear ki listen because you're white and we're English you don't feel like Afrikaans, then therefore ngasi patience. I should learn.
Just a stereotype. Like how if you walked into this room, and then I'll click this lady. It's like, okay, he's black, she's white. You know, she probably knows a bit more about me, so I'm gonna go hang out with her. You know, and I found for me it's very difficult to do that, especially when I was in varsity. You know, when you knew your freshman year and you walk in, it's like there's black people and there's white people. It's like I don't want to hang out with the whites because I don't want to be stereotyped, but I don't want to be hang out with the blacks because the whites are going to look at me and go, "What's going on?" You know what I'm saying? So it's very it's very
tricky.
Amanda, in closing, when I ring,
I just think we need to voice it out. Not as black people, sometimes we always complain to ourselves or we complain to our friends. We say, this person said this about me, I'm 17. Go complain to them. If that person don't listen to you, take it to HR, but we need to voice it out. And also, I find at work, you know, people will make jokes like, oh, if we have a meeting, oh, you're on time, that's surprising. Don't laugh at those jokes. Do not entertain those things. Tell people how you feel, obviously in a professional way. We just need to start talking.
You know what? I feel, Andrew said that it's a very sensitive topic, and it is. And I'm saying this because moving forward, we still need to work with one another, you know, and reach some sort of neutral understanding, you know. But at the end of the day, we give people a chance, because I went and I spoke and I said, I am not happy with the fact that I have to stomach education with this language. Can you please change it? You understand? The medium of instruction for government hospitals, for the institution that I'm under, is English. Why is this being done in Afrikaans? And even when I gave them a chance, do you know what happened? They came to me and they said, okay, Lesego, the argument was that we will speak 50% English and 50% Afrikaans. And that to me was an insult. It was an even bigger insult, because you understand 100% English. But you're saying to me that I only deserve to have 50% understanding of what we are doing in this department, you know, whereas you have 100% understanding. And it really made me sit down and question myself that, am I the one who's maybe expecting too much from people? Going back again to what Andrew said, and the brother said here, that white people need to come to the party, and that's what we need from them. We need them to come to the party and realize that in order for this to work, we all need to make an effort. You understand what I mean? Because if I say, I forgive you, but you never ask for forgiveness, it's another thing.
It's
you
another
understand?
thing. Like Amanda Kontunkoko human rights, there's a very simple statement. What happens is that black people feel it's right to talk about white people around them because they're the ones that oppressed black people. And some white people feel like, let's understand, because you know they were oppressed by our forefathers who were white. Let's try and understand the blacks. Ladies and gents, thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming through. We did 74 hours to do this. It's very sensitive. Ite into ke mntasekhaya besikubuza umbuzo bana, does race matter na xa sithatha nge-opportunities ngemisebenzi? Let's results.
Yo, 97% yes.
97% it yes.
I want to and then 3% no.
Eish, we do still have a long way to go. 97%
yeah.
but yeah, race does matter. No, at the end of the day, we must just talk about Tommy Dim. Coming up next, to go shift on the move. A young person who's making waves. Skinny smooth. Lady Socks to high.
One, two. Sure. Abonakala under ya mngisho.
Because if you got a flame, might as well be seated. Because then it says, but you're not going to fit. Oh, then that's fine. But Robert okay. You're not Robert okay. Emma, Richie, Mutalo Taken. Smooth Ken. Acrobat Ken. Emma Taken. Emma Qua Utoken. Hey. I can write direct. Yeah? Okay, cool.
Shifters on the move like esibhezela abantu abenza umehluko emphakathini namhlanje ubhuti ozongena uthi mina ngaqala ibhizinisi yokuthengisa amasocks uzositshela ukuthi yena uqale kanjani into ethandile ngamasokisi sibuda
yebo
okay
kuthiwa ngisheshise phela
wena just thank you
kunjani
mara amakausa khayabheda
uyangowa wena
aramakhosa
khayabheda amakausa mayabheda I had an interview nawe e-UJ e-radio yakhumbula wathi uzongithumela ngaze ngawe inbox ku Twitter wathi uzongithumela ama pay i2
and yazibekile lapha yana 2 years ago
ngicela
ukuntshela istory engingasazi 2 years ago amakausi wethu besingazenzeli bengithanda ukuthenga mina amakausi e-store nge5 rand ngwarephe kahle lapha yana nge golden orange string ngathengisa nge50 rand and 2 years later I'm making them nyawa designer 100% South African
uthando lokuqala ibusiness buyapi
wow mina yazi ukuthina nekudala ngusomabhizinisi ngikhule ekhaya mangikhuluma mama bekathanda ukufaka lipstick etekini yami ngikhombisa bothishe esikolweni bengithengisa amasweet to my peers but bengazi ukuthi I'm an entrepreneur I didn't know mina bengifuna ukuzikela ku industry ngiact ngipresent ngiyenzeni yabona but ngazi ukuthi ezokuthini I can make something of myself and 2 years ago ngabheka ukuthi yini into engithanda ukuyenza kakhulu and ngithanda ukugcoka amasokisi ngimude amakausa amabhruka ngilengani kahle so kune gap lana bengicompensate ngamakausa colorful but inkinga yami bengicoko amakausa from outside the country and I realized ukuthi nathi
usesesikolweni
I was in no besengiqedile isikolo at the time
okay
yabona
amasokisi overseas excuse
well Dali style asikhona
okay and then iphela meliphi or ngiyazikhethela nje bona ngifuna
uzozikhethela ngizokunikeza lawa rate ungasabi
ngithi ungaqoke manje ngibabonisa
waqoka ke bawabone lawo yeza buya phane there's a flagship range ila makausi i5 ahlala khona from skinny socks and one pair goes for 90 rand so thina into esihlukanisa quality kakhulu into esdifferentiator kwamanye ama brands thina we focused on making socks only you look at other brands bona bayenza ama men's accessories and stuff thina we focus on just making socks every 2 months skipper ama designer ifa
mara wena wayenzela abafana kuphela
well you know what amadoda ngiyabonga ukuthi ngizole le question there the thing about guys is that it's a market that already exists
here's my happy sock skinny smooth socks
uzamekile shem yazi yini
Ngizamekile. Mara ngiyamaqina shem.
Ndibheka ngaphansi abhalwe skinny socks and njengoba nikhuluma nge-race I'm the first and only black guy in the world to have a premium sock brand.
Yeah.
I was sitting with my team down and they said, no, don't ever say you're the first black guy to mention that. And I said to them, lento leyo inikeza ubongani ohlele emqandulu ihope yokuthi nami one day if there's that black guy can do it, nama can do it.
Ucale ngemalini because a lot of people mabangena kuma business baya complain man ukuthi akunamali uthini advice. 30 seconds nje.
30 seconds qala manje. Start now. Mina ngicale ngokuthenga amakawusi nge5 rand ngiwathengisa nge50 rand ngingana next bengisebenza on the side ngapha ngithengisa all the time. So start now, start now.
Yeah. So imali buluku savela kancane kancane.
Bengileyo ngizisavela up until after a year of practicing ngathola investor and we started growing Skinny Spoon Socks.
And then swathola phi?
Amakawusi ungawathola ku www.skinnyspoonsocks.co.za. Something major is coming end of July. We're doing something that's never been seen in the African continent by Skinny Spoon Socks. I don't want to say much. Ngifuna nje abantu baye ku website yethu, basifollow ku Twitter, Skinny Spoon Socks, Instagram Skinny Spoon Socks.
Skinny Spoon Socks everywhere. Because I know lento khuluma ukuthi you're the first in the world. I was watching an interview, I think it was a clip on CNN on YouTube. I-reaction ithini yabantu abangaphandle because sometimes kunalento ukuthi for instance thina la eSouth Africa masibona i-project angaphandle ase-America sembrace yona but bona bathini i-response ithini?
Well, i-response has been so good. First of all, because I'm black and we shouldn't run away from that. It's a phenomenon. Into engakazi yenza emhlabeni wonke. But abantu mabamba product yami bathi wow, this all matches to the quality existayo already and stuff. And the design way to the out of the ordinary. So simita and exceed my expectations of abantu. So we're getting people from outside the country getting our socks. Sir Richard Branson owns a pair.
Oh, Sir Richard Branson wears a pair from Skinny Spoon Socks. My goodness, well done.
All right, lefala wana hela no la ka tshoko la shift. On Monday tle bua ka di pasta cause batho ngata ba re se ba butse di pasta shop ba tse fake or real. Next week Monday le sale handle.